In a bowl, I've added all my dry ingredients by sifting the flour, adding my fast action yeast, sugar and salt, as well as adding the oil. For this recipe, the yeast is going to act as our raising agent. Now to add the water, a little bit at a time. The water is nice and warm to help activate the yeast. Once the mixture has come together, by using a wooden spoon, I'm going to tip it out onto a floured work surface. The mixture shouldn't be too sticky. I'm going to knead the dough for a good 10 minutes. You can see here I'm kneading the dough by pushing the dough away from me using the heel of my palm, folding itself over using my fingers and pulling it back. I'm doing this repeatedly until my doughs become nice and elastic and smooth. After kneading for about a good 10 minutes, I'm going to split the dough up into 8 roughly same sized balls. By cupping my hands loosely over the dough and rolling it around on the table, I'm able to create nice rounded shaped dough balls. For the yeast to be able to do its job, we need to leave the dough to prove. While proving, the dough will increase in size, maybe even double in size. I'm placing them onto a baking tray and covering loosely with cling film. These are going to be left in a nice warm room. Depending on the temperature of the room, this could take 30 to 60 minutes. As well as smoothing out the roll, by rolling it around across the table underneath the cupped hand position, you can also use a different technique where you hold the ball between both of your hands, moving your hands in a cupping position backwards and forwards. Once I've smoothed out my dough ball, I'm going to top my roll with chia seeds. Now I'm going to coat the top of my roll using a pastry brush with a little bit of milk, and then I'm going to dip that roll into the chia seeds. For my hedgehog shaped roll, I'm just going to shape it a bit like a teardrop, so I can make a nice pointy snout. Using my fingers to shape the dough, creating his pointy snout, I'm now going to use scissors to cut into the dough. These spikes are going to create his spikes or quills. And for his eyes, I'm using raisins. I'm making sure I'm pushing those quite firmly into the dough so that they don't pop out while baking. For the knotted roll, I'm just going to roll out my piece of dough into a long thin sausage. I'm then just going to tie the dough into a knot, making sure that I'm sealing the ends underneath and making it nice and tidy. I'm topping this roll again using the chia seeds, but then I'm going to cut into the roll, just using scissors as another method of adding a little bit of texture and technique to the roll. For the twisted roll, again rolling out to make this time a little fat sausage, and then using a knife just to cut down the middle and twist the dough strands. For a neat finish, just tuck in those ends. For this plaited roll, I'm going to firstly roll out the dough, and then I'm going to cut the dough into 3 strands so that I'm able to plait it. If you've not plaited before, it's simply taking the end strand, picking it up and placing it in between the middle of the other 2. and then you go from the other end, pick it up and place it in between the other two strands, and then just alternating backwards and forwards. Again, remember to tuck in those ends to make it nice and neat. I've placed all the bread rolls onto a baking tray ready to go into the oven. If you've got time, you can leave them for another 20 minutes to prove in a warm room. This will help it increase in size. I've placed a little bit of milk and now it's into the oven. Once golden, take out of the oven. To check if your bread is cooked, tap onto the base. If it sounds hollow, it's baked. Be careful, it will be hot.